S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra was great, but it would have been interesting to see them fight other evil organizations. Season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The second season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. deals with the aftermath of everything that happened in the first season. S.H.I.E.L.D. came crumbling down after everything that happens in The Winter Soldier, and now Phil Coulson and his team are left to try and rebuild, pick up the pieces, and not just that, but now fight this war against Hydra, who's come out of the shadows. And the first thing I definitely want to mention is this season is such a step up. I actually really enjoyed the first season, and so it makes the second season that much better. The writing is a lot better, the storytelling is a lot better, even the fight scenes are much more choreographed, and when you're watching it on screen, it looks a lot better as well. A lot of that weird, cheesy, awkward dialogue is gone that was present in the first season. This season has a much more cohesive story. You can tell that they learned from their mistakes. They no longer are writing episode to episode. They kind of have an overarching story, and it works really well to have it set up in that way. The difference between this season and the last season, this season definitely has two parts, where the first part is them fighting Hydra. There's a certain objective that both the teams are trying to get to, and so the first half of the season very much deals with them dealing with that and complete that mission first. Once that happens, the second part of the season focuses a lot on Inhuman stuff. I like how it's split into those two sections, but it doesn't feel jarring. It's very much the first half of the season leads into the second one, but you can tell when it shifts gears. And as you're watching the episodes back to back, but it almost gives you a break. And this is something that they would learn later on in their subsequent seasons. And it was great to see that they learned from that very early on. The other biggest thing too is that the show is not hindered by having or trying to connect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as much as the first season did. If a certain MCU movie was coming out the week after a certain episode, they would try to tie it together. This season now they kind of just mention the movies in passing, almost to just remind you, hey, this is still connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we're not dependent on it, okay? We just want to make sure you guys know that this stuff's going on. We have our own story to tell. And I think that worked really great for this show, because now you are invested in just the show, where before you liked how much they were trying to connect to the rest of the world, but now that they've established themselves, you can focus on just what's going on with them. All the main characters are back. They add a few additional characters. All the additions are great. As I mentioned, the dialogue's a lot better, so all these characters aren't the annoying or awkward selves that they might have been in the first season. And it's great to see them grow as characters as they are dealing with this fallout of season 1 and dealing with Coulson trying to lead and trying to rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D. from the bottom up again. And then just as they're coming together, that's when all the Inhuman stuff starts happening, and it leads to a great climax and eventual resolution. This is one of the lowest points that these characters are in. They're dealing with the reemerged Hydra that didn't just come out of nowhere. They were very organized. The first few episodes of the season really show how integrated and how organized Hydra was. And it just shows how far S.H.I.E.L.D. fell and how crumbled and broken they really are. It was a worldwide thing, and so to see this team try and rebuild it and try to keep hold or grow the resources that they used to have, that's another thing that makes the show seem different from the first season. This isn't the same S.H.I.E.L.D. that's overarching, has unlimited resources, can go anywhere in the world. Now they have to be much more careful with their every step while still trying to take down Hydra. Throughout the season, there's a lot of rich history that happened in the past that the show gets into, with Skye, her experiences and her past, but also the impact and history that S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra had from back in the day. During this time, it's when Age of Ultron was barely going to come out. So that's when the movies were barely starting to expand a lot more. I feel like the show was doing the very same thing and just expanding and improving upon the world's history. There's so much of it. This was also during the time that Daredevil started coming out, and there's just pockets of stuff going on around the entire universe, and it's great to feel that within the world but still have the show have its focus. And as you're watching it, you know you're observing one little slice of the entire mythology. And as someone that's watched all the seasons, it was great to see that ever since the second season, they were already starting to sow those seeds for what was going to be a very expansive universe for them. Overall, it's a very, very fun season. I truly enjoyed it. You can tell right away that they improve upon the first one. It's easy to follow. You can tell where the break in the show is, but both halves are very enjoyable, and I definitely recommend it. But let me know what you guys think. What was your favorite moment in season 2? Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.